Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about, as I said last week, my favourite Sabbath of the year, which is Beltane or May Day, traditionally celebrated on the last day of April into the first day of May, so April the 30th to around May the 1st. In this video I'm going to be talking about Beltane, some of the things that it represents and means to me, as well as what it represents generally for Wiccans and pagans, and some quarantine-friendly ideas of how you can celebrate this Sabbath in your own home or garden at this time of year. So what is Beltane exactly? Well, I find it helps to occasionally look at the wheel of the year, and when you look at Beltane, look at what Sabbath is on the opposite side of it. What Sabbath is the mirror image of the one that you want to find out about, because often that can help you put into perspective what this Sabbath means in relation to the wheel of the year as a whole. And if you know one Sabbath very well and the meaning of that, then you can connect it to the one that you're having difficulties with. So for Beltane, I would use the example of Samhain or Halloween, which, as we all know, is a festival of the dead, celebrating the dead, communicating with ancestors and the spirits of the dead. So if you look at it like that, and then think about, okay, we're on the exact opposite mirror image side of the wheel of the year, then what does Beltane mean? And the answer is basically a celebration of all that is alive. So it's essentially a joyous festival celebrating fertility and growth and all of the things that mean to be an alive physical being. So when we talk about fertility, it can be a celebration of the fertility of the earth, as we're seeing all of nature coming into bloom at this time of year. The seeds that we planted at spring equinox time of the Sabbath should be starting to take root, perhaps the little sprouts are appearing. We're seeing the efforts of our work, the growth that is happening, and just life springing into action and the joy that that brings and the hope that that fills us with. The earth can provide us with food and nourishment and flowers and all of these wonderful things if we take care of it and help it to survive, help it to live. And as well as Beltane being a celebration of the alive in terms of animals and the earth, it's also a celebration of humans' ability to create life through obviously the act of reproduction, but also just in general being thankful for the human's ability to create things. So being creative, the fact that you can have a creative spirit and bring life to a painting, bring life to an idea, and being thankful for the fertility of your mind, fertile ideas, and how that helps you to create your reality and bring these ideas that you have into the world. So Beltane is all about celebrating the alive, the joys of being alive, the physical pleasures that come from having a physical body, the physical delights that we can see in the world around us at this time, and the fertility of the earth springing into action, and the fertility of our mind hopefully being ripe with new ideas of how to move forward into the year. In terms of Wiccan beliefs about the triple goddess, the maiden, mother and the crone, we're at the time of year where we believe that the maiden goddess is reaching the peak of her fertility, basically ready to move into the next archetype, which is the mother. So before she can do that, she becomes ripe at the peak of her fertility, ready to meet up with the god of nature, the god of the wild and the animals, so that they can perform the great rite or sex to bring forth all of creation, essentially. And this great rite that the maiden goddess and the young god perform is the ultimate celebration of life and fertility on earth. As I said, the human's ability to create, nature's ability to create, all that we hold dear to us. And as Wiccans, we believe that obviously people like to celebrate Beltane through replicating the great rite of the god and the goddess. If you have a partner of any gender, you can perform that great rite and honour the masculine and feminine aspects within you through that and feel the creation of that. But also we believe that anytime you are creative in any sense, anytime, as I said, you bring life to an idea or a painting or writing a story, anything, you're experiencing the fertility of the god and the goddess working through you, the fertility and their ability to create working through you to create these works of art, or just to bring about to fruition anything that you are creating in your life in any sense. Some traditional ways of celebrating Beltane may be going out to collect wildflowers to make a flower crown, or we're all quite familiar with the tradition of dancing around the maypole on May the 1st, the maypole representing male fertility and the abundance that that can bring to the earth, the goddess earth, and the male god essentially fertilizing the earth and bringing about all of nature. However, as we are all in quarantine sadly right now, going out and dancing around a maypole in the traditional sense might not be exactly something you can do. You may not want to leave your house to gather wildflowers, so I have compiled a list of ideas that hopefully will be more quarantine friendly at this particular year that we are in and the challenges we are currently facing, so that we can bring that spirit of Beltane to our days right now, even though this Beltane will undoubtedly be different from other Beltanes that we may have celebrated in the past, where it was able to be more of a social affair, but I believe it can still be just as beautiful and full of life as the Sabbat would ever be. So, as Beltane is the ultimate Sabbat celebrating life, ways to celebrate Beltane are basically to engage in any sort of activity that makes you glad to be alive, makes you grateful to be alive, makes you grateful that you have a body, or any activity that celebrates and honours the body that you're in and the life that you have. So ask yourself, what activities can you do that really make you feel grateful that you have a body? You could love to dance, you could feel really alive in your body when you dance, you could feel grateful for your body and your life when you sing and you let your soul take flight through your singing. You could cook some delicious food, eat your favourite meal, have a long hot bath, anything that really indulges your senses, makes you grateful for your senses and your ability to touch, taste, hear, feel, everything like that. So Beltane is really quite a lot about celebrating the physicality of life, and as I said in my last video, talking about the zodiac sign of Taurus, we're currently in the season of Taurus, and Taurus is all about celebrating the physical aspects of beauty, ruled by Venus, the goddess of love, and we're talking about the maiden goddess who is turning into the goddess of love. She's turning into the lover to perform that great rite with the god. Really, it's a great time to be thinking about Taurus, and what would a Taurus do at this time of year? Celebrating the earthy pleasures of life, celebrating beauty and sensuality in all of its forms and ways that make us feel good and grateful to be here. The obvious thing you can do to celebrate if you're lucky enough to be quarantined with your partner is obviously just perform the act of sex with them, maybe. Some people are interested in sex magic. I don't really know too much about that, but I know it's a thing that a lot of people do, and I think this time of year would be great for that, probably more than any other time in the year. So that's one idea that doesn't involve leaving your home. You can also perform any type of fertility spell that, again, doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. You can perform a fertility spell just asking the universe to bless you with a fertile mind, the ability to have a mind that creates lots of ideas and solutions to your problems. So I said that Beltane as a Sabbat was connected to Samhain on the opposite end of the year, and both of these are times where the veil that separates between our world and the spirit world is said to be at its thinnest. So we're all aware of Samhain or Halloween being a time that we dress up as spirits of the dead, try to communicate with spirits of the dead, because at the point of the year of Samhain the veil is the thinnest, so we would have the most success trying to communicate with the spirits of the dead at that time. And similarly with Beltane this time of year, the veil is also very thin, and because Samhain is a celebration of the spirits of the dead, Beltane can be a celebration of anything that is an alive spirit, I guess. So I like to think of nature spirits, fairies. Lots of people like to communicate with the fae at this time of year because the veil is thinner and we can see the joyful spirits of nature at this time and communicate with them, as opposed to Samhain when we're about to transition into winter, into the crone archetype. We're moving into the darkness, so it's good to embrace the darker parts of ourselves, the dormant parts, the dead parts, the things that we wish to move on from. At Beltane, we're moving into a time of greater light. We've not reached the peak of summer yet. We've not reached, well, we're at the peak of spring, I would say, but we've definitely got all of summer to go. We're not at the summer solstice yet, where things will start to get darker. We still have that to go. So essentially, we're moving into the lighter parts. So it's about embracing the light sides within yourself, the sides that make you laugh and be joyous and be silly and embrace your inner child, I guess. All of these are things that the Fae can help us with, and I think is really beneficial for us to be in touch with at this time. So as it may be difficult for some of us to go outside, hopefully people have some access to a garden or a yard of some sort, or even just if you have a plant in your home. Now can be a really great time to communicate with the plants in your garden or in your home, and try to familiarise yourself with the guardians of that particular plant, the nature spirits that guard it, and form some sort of relationship with them. That can be a really great and beautiful thing to do at this time. That doesn't necessarily mean going out for nature walks, though of course you can do that as well if you feel able and if it still obviously complies with government regulations. You can also create some sort of bonfire if it's safe for you to do so. As Beltane being the Sabbath of fertility and life, we're talking about the primal spark of life, and that is associated with fire for a lot of people. Another traditional Beltane activity was to jump over the Beltane fires, and a number of blessings could be bestowed on you. If you jumped over with a partner, it could ensure fertility for yourself and your partner. If you jumped over alone, it could mean that the Beltane fire would bless you with a lover to come into your life, or it could bless you with safe travel. So this is a nice idea, and you can make a mini version of the Beltane fire in your home or in your yard, garden, as long as it is safe for you to do so. You can literally just light a single candle if you want, and that will suffice as the representation of the Beltane fire. You can do a line of candles, again if it's safe to do so, I guess a bonfire or a barbecue, anything like that helps you to connect with the sacred energy of the Beltane fires. It's all completely up to you essentially, as long as it won't damage yourself or others or your property. As dancing around the maypole, as I said, may not be, probably isn't an option for many people. You can create a miniature version of a maypole, so you can basically stand a stick on your altar or position your wand in an upright position so that it mimics the maypole in a sense. You can tie some red and white ribbons around it, red and white being colours associated with Beltane. Traditionally, people would also dress in colours of red and white, which obviously you can do. You can dress yourself any way you want without leaving your house, so that could be an option to get in touch with the Beltane spirit. I did talk about the Fae earlier, the Fairies, and in order to foster that relationship that you have with them, any kind of nature spirit that might inhabit your garden or any houseplants, you can simply leave out an offering for them. So they like honey, sweet things, small things. I would suggest anything that is biodegradable and kind of the earth itself. So for me personally, I have these little kind of nut shells that I found on the ground, and they can be really good as like a little cup or a little plate for honey, and you can just leave that out next to your plant or wherever you want the fairies to receive your offering. That's quite a nice cute idea to do. Don't have to leave your property at all for that, and yeah, it just helps to connect you with the spirits of the fae. Of course, another idea is simply just redecorating the altar or sacred space that you may have in your home to represent Beltane. So as I said, using colours of red and white, possibly even green, to symbolise the green man and nature springing back into action, the leaves on the trees becoming green again. You can have a representation of your altar of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, so anything that represents maybe the horned god, you can have some horns on your altar, or just a statue of the horned god like what I have. Statue of the goddess Aphrodite, who is next to him, and anything that really symbolises the union of the divine masculine, feminine coming together at this time of year, the god and the goddess. In terms of tarot, we would be talking about the Lovers card here, and if you think about the Lovers card and what that represents to you, that can really give you any ideas of how to celebrate Beltane even at this time of year. So anything that helps you to feel loving towards your partner, loving towards yourself, grateful for the life that you have and the love that you share. Anything like that can be a beautiful way to celebrate Beltane, and it's really up to you. So singing, dancing, baking your favourite foods, wearing your favourite clothes, wearing your favourite scents, anything that indulges your senses in the most wonderful way, makes you feel grateful to be alive, grateful for the body that you have, and perhaps anything that enhances the love and the connection you share with your partner if you're lucky enough to be quarantined with them. As we're talking about fertility, we can also embrace the fertility in our minds and do something creative for Beltane, creating something to honour the god and the goddess and show our ability to create through our ideas, essentially, even if we're not creating through obviously reproducing right now. And I guess my number one tip for Beltane would just be to smile, to laugh, to be light-hearted like the Fae, embrace that light, high-spirited atmosphere that they bring to us, how beautiful nature is blooming into action, how we're entering the brightest part of the year. Really embrace the light within yourself and the joy within yourself that you are alive at this time, and be grateful for the little things as always, because that can help you in these challenging times, and what better time to practice that than at Beltane. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video about Beltane and some of the ways that you can celebrate it that are still quarantine friendly. I'm aware that I certainly won't have covered everything that you can possibly do, so if you have any other ideas, please leave a comment down below. I'll be checking them all out. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. If you liked the video, obviously give it a like, it really helps me out. And I'll see you in my next video. So thank you for watching everyone, and have a blessed Beltane.